Good morning, Zio here, and we are on, I think, part 4 of going through this entire document. So, with all that, grab yourself some coffee, sit back, relax, and let's get into it, shall we? Yeah, there we go. We are now into this. Now, before we start, of course, I am not a lawyer. I am not giving any kind of advice or anything else like that. We are purely going through these documents at first glance. I have gone through and skimmed all this before I sit down and started recording, but I haven't read it in depth as we are doing it right now, and I'm giving my first impressions essentially on this, and it is definitely going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because on one hand, some of these things are so ludicrous, like cube crawls, that it makes me go, there's no way that really, like in the office, alcohol consumption, crawling from cube to cube, like a beer hop or something, or a pub crawl or something like that, just sounds completely insane. Even for Activision Blizzard. Just saying, just even for Activision itself, it seems a tidbit insane. The other things, on the other hand, completely plausible. And it makes me go, wow, Blizzard needs to, or Activision Blizzard, I should say, needs to be condemned at the highest level at that point, because the rest of this does seem very, very plausible, and it's not like it's a new thing that we're hearing. We've heard these things from insiders in the past. This was just from last year. We talked about it earlier. And things. So, this is definitely something that should be definitely looked at. We should definitely be following this and taking a look and see how it goes. And we are finally getting to the first causes of action. And I'm sure one of the legal YouTubers like Legal Eagle or somebody, or Ricada Law or somebody else, will go over these more in depth with a lawyer's perspective and actually start being able to make things more sense. But this is just from a gamer's perspective who likes to cover news type stuff. So yeah, it's limited. Sorry. But we were at 51, so that's where we will continue. In retaliation for complaints that made regarding harassment and discrimination, female employees experienced retaliation by defendants that included involuntary transfers, selection for layoffs, and denial of projects and their opportunities. And as it comes for layoffs and stuff, Activision Blizzard lays off hundreds of people after making revenue high revenues and all this other stuff. Wow, I can't even think of the correct word to use there. But yeah, that's nothing new, and a lot of companies tend to do that. So anyway, defendants' flawed policies and practices effectively allowed and continue to allow discrimination to occur in defendants' workplace. Employees have suffered and will continue to suffer harm from defendants' ongoing unlawful policies and practices unless they are enjoined by this court. So there we go. We've got the causes of actions. The first causes of actions, the DEFH Incorporated, and regardless of all previous allegations as it is fully set forth herein, Government Code Section 12940 subdivision states that it is unlawful employment practices for an employer to discriminate against the person in compensation or in terms, conditions, or privileges of employees because of that person's sex. Also, of course, before we go through, just to hit back on what I started with, the unbelievable aspect of some of these things. When it comes to several of the things that are being alleged, like unfair pay and getting passed up for promotion and stuff like that, there actually can be straight up ground or down to earth reasons as to why these things happened. And it doesn't just happen to women, it happens to men too. Even though in this document they're alleging it only happens to the female employees, I have a feeling that is not the case. However, as for the sexual harassment section, that is something we need to definitely take note of and look at and take action against. especially when you hear about what Alex did in the last episode. If you didn't actually hear what he did, he was lead creative director. This guy right here, lead creative director of World of Warcraft, one of my favorite games ever. So, you know. Anyway, if he's done the things that this document says he has done, definitely needs something done about that. But anyway, let's continue. Defendants discrimination against women by paying them less than men because of sex in violation of Government Code Section 12940. Yes, that would definitely be against the law to do that. That's why the whole 77 cents on a dollar thing isn't true for the most part. But at the same time, Blizzard has been known to pay people under the industry standard also. So just saying, that's not just the women who are dealing with that. There's men also who get paid under the industry standard, which is a point that they did bring up in this document, but they didn't. They left the other side of that out. It was just a woman thing. So yeah, just to, you know, be a realist here about it, it happens to everybody who works for Blizzard, except for, you know, the higher echelon, you know, because Jay has to afford that new yacht. But anyway. Defendants intentionally discriminate against women in compensation. For example, defendants offer women lower compensation at hire. Yes, they do that for everybody. They try to, it's this thing called negotiations. If they come in and say, hey, you know, here's the deal, we're prepared to offer you $75,000 a year. And then, you know, somebody comes back and goes, you know what, I'm worth at least $110,000. And then they come back with a counter offer. Okay, how about 80,000? 100,000 sounds better. Maybe we can settle somewhere in the middle. Maybe like 95,000. You know, okay, yeah, you got a deal. You know, they sign documents, all that stuff. And you know, as much as somebody doesn't want to hear this, women tend to be more agreeable and don't actually negotiate like men do. Men tend to be more aggressive in the negotiation tactics when it comes to that, which is why they get hired at lower at lower compensation than their male counterparts. And that has everything to do with, unfortunately, you know, biology and such, as much as people don't want to hear that, because men and women aren't technically equal in that department when it comes to personality traits and other things of the psyche side. Sorry. Anyway, so that right there, just, to me, that's a nonsense thing, right? You know, part of this document talks about this a lot. We highlighted, you know, whatever it was, pay gap or whatnot, every time they mentioned it, and they mentioned it a few times. But yeah, there's actual logical reasons as to why that has happened. Anyway, assign them lower pay and less opportunity levels and roles, awarded them less incentive pay and or equal pay opportunities, which of course, you know, is a nonsense thing, like we were just saying, and afforded them less advancement and other opportunities than their male counterparts. Now, this part here definitely could be something that we could look at if you know, you've got two people who are equally doing practically the same thing and all this other stuff, equal, you know, equal investment in time, equal, you know, experience and all this other stuff, and you always give it to somebody who's not female, you know, always giving it to the male counterpart or whatnot, then we can actually make a case for that. But anyway, defendants' policy, practices, and other procedures have resulted in unlawful disparity impacting discrimination against women with respect to compensation opportunities. For example, defendants offer women lower compensation at hire, assigned women to lower paid. Isn't that the same thing we just said? Defendants intentionally discriminate against women in compensation. Policy, practices, and other procedures have resulted in unlawful disparity impact discrimination against women. For example, defendants offer lower compensation at hire, assigned women to lower paid positions, and lower opportunity and less opportunity levels and lower opportunity levels and roles, and afforded them less incentive and or this is just a comma, awarded them less incentive and pay opportunities than their male counterparts without cutting out some of that. This literally is a copy and paste. These two are literally saying the exact same thing with a few word difference. That is so weird. Why would you do that? Anyway, as a result of defendants' unlawful employment practices, female employees suffer and continue to suffer harm, including but not limited to lost earnings, lost benefits, lost future employment opportunities, and other financial losses, as well as non-economic damages. Okay, that's fine. Defendants, or it's not fine, but you know what I mean. That's a valid fight, fight to go with. Defendants' actions demonstrate that they will continue to engage in the pattern or practices of unlawful employment discriminations and unlawful disparaging impact discriminations prohibited by the FEHA unless they are enjoined pursuant to the policy power granted by the Government Code sections 12920 and 12920.5 from failing or refusing to comply with the mandates of the FEHA Governmental Code section 12900 ET6 SECQ. Defendants' actions were willful, malicious, fraudulent, and oppressive, and were committed with the wrongful intent and injury of female employees in consideration disregard of their rights, unless defendants are enjoined pursuant of Government Code 129C or 65 section C from failing or refusing to comply with the mandates of FEHA female employment rights to seek or hold employment free of unlawful discrimination will continue to be violated. You know what? Let's bring some things up real quick. Government Code section 12965C. Let's see. California. Is it California? It's California, right? Let's. I'm curious, just to see what these things are. I'm curious. So let's see. We want C. A court may grant relief in any action filed pursuant to subdivision A. Any relief court and empowerment to grant a civilian action brought pursuant to subdivision B, in addition to any relief that in judgment of the court will effectively and the purpose of this part. The relief must include and require that the employer conduct training for all employees, supervisors, managers, and requirements of this part, the rights and remedies of these to allege violations of the part and the employment initial grievance procedure. In addition, in order to vindicate and propose policies of this part, a court may assess against the defendant if the court complies or amends civil complaint to pay a civil penalty of upward to $25,000 to be awarded to the person denied any right provided from section 51.7 of the Civil U.S. Code, and unlawful practices prohibited under this part. Okay, so that seems to be what they're looking for, right? The remedies for this, from failing or refusing to comply with mandates of the FEHA, female employees' right to seek or uphold employment free of unlawful discrimination will continue to be violated. So that sounds like that is a relief that they are seeking, one of multiple, of course. By reason of the continuous nature of defendant's unlawful conduct, the continuing violation doctrine is applied to all violations alleged herein. Plaintiff DEFH requests relief as described herein. Second cause of action. How long is the second cause of action? Because we may have to save this for another one. Third cause of action. Wow, this is going to take some time, and gosh, I don't know. By the time that this video comes out, I guarantee there's going to be more things to talk about. We're going to have to be like putting this in bit by bit while talking about this other stuff when I can. But yeah, we're going to start here with the second cause of action. We'll go ahead and end this right here. So let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I will talk to you later. See ya. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.